Shalom in the name of Yehoshua HaMashiach. And we're continuing to investigate the teachings of Paul of Tarsus, Shaul of Tarsus. And in this video, I'm going to do an exegesis of a passage of Galatians where Paul attempts to build his doctrine concerning the curse of the law, the curse of the Torah. And what I'm going to be doing is basically going through the passage and referring to the scriptures that he quotes and seeing if those scriptures actually demonstrate the thing that he's trying to teach. So, verse 10 of Galatians chapter 3. He says, "For as many are of works of Torah are under the curse. For it is written, Cursed is everyone who does not continue in all that has been written in the book of the Torah to do them." Okay, so this is a quotation. He's quoting, and he's using this quote to teach that all those who are of the works of the Torah are under a curse. Now the quote comes from Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 27, verse 26. Let's have a look if it says that what he's trying to make it say. It says in that passage, it says, "Cursed is he who does not establish the words of this Torah, and all the people shall say, Amen." Now, would you get from this passage that it says that whoever is of the works of the Torah, in other words, does it say here, whoever does the Torah is under a curse? Of course it doesn't. It says the exact opposite. It says, whoever does not establish the words of the Torah is cursed. In other words, whoever does not do the works of the Torah, whoever doesn't do Torah is cursed. It's the exact opposite of what Paul's saying. So I'm afraid that point has not been proven. He said that as many are of works of Torah are under the curse. He uses this scripture to back that teaching up, but that scripture does not say what he is saying. It says the exact opposite of what he is saying. Then in the next verse he says, "And that no one is declared right by Torah is before the Mighty One is clear, for," and he quotes Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4, "For the righteous shall live by belief." Now, we saw in the previous video that in actual fact people are declared right by Torah, by keeping the commandments, as stated by the prophets Moshe, Ezekiel, and Yehoshua HaMashiach. But so that's already proven wrong by the scriptures. But let's have a look at the reference that he uses, Habakkuk 2 verse 4. And Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4 says this, "See, he whose being is not upright in him is puffed up, but the righteous one lives by his steadfastness." Now, does this say anything about people are not justified or not declared right by the Torah? No. What's this verse saying? It's quite straightforward what it's saying. It's saying that the one who is righteous lives by or in his steadfastness. Remember that the word righteous means just, upright, one who is right before Yahweh. And as we saw in the last video, the ones who are righteous are the ones who keep the commandments, the ones who rejoice in the commandments and seek after the commandments. That is a righteous man. So Habakkuk is saying that the righteous one, the one who is keeping the commandments and seeking after the Most High, he lives by his steadfastness, meaning by his faithfulness, meaning that he walks steadfastly, and that is how he lives, that is how he walks. Whereas the one who is not upright is contrary to that. He's puffed up, he's arrogant. But the righteous one lives by his steadfastness. It does not say that a man is not declared right by Torah, which is what Paul is trying to make it say. He says here, no one is declared right by Torah, and that he tries to prove that point by using Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. But Habakkuk doesn't say anything like that. He says very simply that the righteous man, and a righteous man is a man who keeps the commandments, a righteous man lives by his steadfastness. That's what Habakkuk said. So there's no proof for Paul's doctrine that no one is declared right by Torah. So that point's unproven. Let's go to verse 12. And the Torah is not of belief. Unbelievable that he can say this. The Torah is not of belief, or is not of faith, but the man who does them shall live by them. Okay, he's quoting here from Leviticus chapter 18, verse 5. We've looked at this already. The Most High says, "You shall guard my laws and my right rulings, which if a man does and lives by them, which a man does and lives by them, I am Yahweh." Again, it's just straightforwardly saying that the man who keeps the commandments is the man who will live. But Paul is saying that the Torah is not of belief. In other words, the one who is a man of faith does not keep the Torah, or is not of the Torah. Unbelievable. How can you go to the Torah? How can you quote from the Torah to try and teach that the Torah is not of belief? Or as we see in other versions, that the Torah is not of faith? That's just ridiculous, I'm afraid. Really, really ridiculous. And again, his point is unproven. And then finally, verse 13. The Messiah has redeemed us from the curse of the Torah, having become a curse for us. For it has been written, "Cursed is everyone who hangs upon a tree." Well, we've seen that there is no curse of the Torah in the way that he's trying to say there is. Now, did the Messiah become a curse? He quotes this passage, Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 23. So let's go to that passage. And let's look at it in a context. It says the following: "When a man has committed a sin worthy of death, then he shall be put to death, and you shall hang him on a tree. Let his body not remain overnight on the tree, for you shall certainly bury him on the same day. For he who is hanged is accursed of the Mighty One, so that you do not defile the land which Yahweh your Mighty One is giving you as an inheritance." Now, looking at this verse in context, who is cursed of the Mighty One? Is it every single man who is hanged on a tree? No, it's the man who has committed a sin worthy of death. This man, the man who has committed a sin worthy of death, that man is the one who is cursed when he is hanged. Now, Yehoshua did not commit any sin, full stop. And he certainly did not commit any sin that was worthy of death. So he was not accursed of Yahweh. He was not accursed of the Mighty One. So this whole idea of the curse of the Torah, as Paul teaches, is just not contained in any of the verses that he uses to try and build this doctrine. There is no curse of the Torah according to what Paul is trying to teach is the curse of the Torah. In the next video, I'm going to show you that there is a curse in the Torah, and there is a curse of Torah, but it's exactly opposite to what Paul wrote in his letter to the Galatians.